All work stops on a Friday. All work really stops Thursday night. You prepare yourself, you take a shower, you clean yourself, you look forward to the next day, because the Eid is a day of celebration, a day of rest. So on a Friday morning, you have a nice breakfast, you stay up a little bit, you get ready for the Jummah. And after the Jummah, we sit, we talk a little bit, you listen a little bit, we have some tea, and then you continue. But the day is different. It is different. It feels different. You must make it different. It cannot be the same. Don't make your Saturdays and Sundays to be different. What? Because they are weekends that they are different. Make your Fridays to be different. For 1400 years, this has been the holy day of the Muslims. Until Judgment Day, this will be the holy day of the Muslims, but not just by word. We don't want to fall into that category that Hujjatul Islam Imam al-Ghazali is saying, what? If you don't look forward to the Friday, if you are not preparing for it, if you don't know which day it is in the morning time, you say, oh, what day is today? Friday? Oh, then you are the most wretched person. What does wretched means? What does wretched mean? You American type people, you know English better than me. What is it saying? Huh? Nasty? Nasty, dirty. Huh?
Condemned.
You know that, huh? Condemned. Cursed. A word, people don't use it. Very cursed. Very bad misfortune. We don't want to say luck. There's no such thing as a luck. So, if you're not respecting what Allah is respecting and holding high in value, then you are pulling the curse to yourself. Alhamdulillah, that our Sheykh has taught us how to behave in these days, but don't let it to become a ritual, don't let it to become a habit, don't fall into a robotic action on these days also. Make it different, inshallah rahman. Alhamdulillah. We just had the khutbah. Let me see if how many of you remember what the khutbah is saying. What is the khutbah? What do you remember from the khutbah? What is it saying to you? I don't want a summary. I just want what the khutbah, the most important thing to you. What is it saying to you? What's saying to you? And? There were battles fought for Islam in the month of Shawwal. Okay. What is important to you? Let me see. Skandar. Right. Okay. So, we are learning how important history is in our lives. History is not a subject that you study in school. Once you leave school, then it doesn't make any difference to you. No. History is something that you are living in. It is inside of you. It is in your life. The man who doesn't know his yesterday will not know his today. He will not know, and he will never know what tomorrow is going to bring. 1/3 of the book of Allah is filled with a history, nothing but the history of the earlier nations. If history is not important, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning the history of the earlier nations to us? For what reason? Just to tell a nice story? Astaghfirullah. We know how to say history repeats itself. If somebody also saying what? Those who don't learn from history, then they are condemned to repeat it. Look at your own history. If you don't learn what happened to you in the past, then you're just going to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again. Then you will be stuck. Life is moving forward. Life is not supposed to be making you to be stuck in one stage, because life pre-eternity to post-eternity is filled with constant changes. If you don't change, you are stuck. That time is worse than hell, because you're not living to your potential. Why is it worse than hell? Because a hellfire, it cleans you up. Yes, you make progress in the hellfire too. If it cleans you up, then it's preparing you for other stations. But if you're not knowing your history, and you're not making it important in your life what history is, if you're not looking at your own history and understand, what was I before? Before I became a Muslim, or before I gave bayat to Sheikh Effendi, before I became a believer. If you're not sitting down to think about it often, then you're going to be stuck in a robotic existence. You cannot compare, you cannot know. This is what is, in our way, tafakkur, that is important. And what is tafakkur? To sit down and to meditate. First, meditate your day, meditate your days, meditate your months, your weeks, your life. Understand. Once you start meditating on that and understanding your day, understanding the history of your day, understanding what you are doing and the history of those actions, you're always getting angry. Understand what is the history of that. Why are you always getting angry? What kind of situation? How do you get out of it? Some people, they don't want to change. They just want to escape from the consequences of their actions, but they really don't want to change. Like some people, they don't want to change. They do something wrong, we say, don't do that. If you do that, this is going to be the result. It's not so good. They say, okay, I'm going to. Really, you are? Yes. Later we turn our head and they do it. And when they do it, and we say, you see, you did it, now this is the result. How do I get out of it? You what? How do I get out of this result? Very nice way of putting it. You cannot get out of it. It will stick to you. Unless you do a couple of things to stop those wrong actions. When you do something wrong, and you run to do something right, then that's the time you can move forward. But those ones who say, how do I get out of this? Meaning, how do I escape from this today? Because tomorrow I'm going to do it again. They're not saying tomorrow I'm going to do it again. That when they do it again, this is the result. How do I get out of this? Over and over and over again. So they're stuck. No change going to happen to them. And it's a very bad situation now. And so the history that we have to know in ourselves, from our communities, the history that we have to know of our faith, it is very important for the believers. Be busy with that and understand. We spoke about some things, the khutbah today, to make us to come out from this stuck position thinking that Islam has always been like this, or the Muslims have always been like this since the beginning. No. Muslim situation have always been like this. No, it hasn't. Islam, Muslims, 1,400 years. And that majority of that time, maybe for 1,300 years, it was always rising and victorious and triumphant. It has never fallen into a disgraceful situation like this. It falls into a disgrace because we are rejecting the sign of Allah. We're rejecting the Khalifa of Allah. We're rejecting Allah to be ruling over us, saying we want to rule over ourselves, that's when the protection is lifted and we become into this very dishonorable position. But this dishonorable position doesn't just belong to us. It starts to spread to the whole world. The whole world falls into a dishonor. Whole world, mankind turns to become beasts, and wild beasts, and worse than that. And Muslims, they start losing their Prophet. They start losing the lifestyle of the Prophet. The religion becomes clothes that they just put on and they take off whenever that they want. It is not something that comes from their heart, from something inside. If we don't know our history, that time we're in a very, very dangerous situation. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you don't know your history. Imagine that. You don't know your history. You don't know your name. You don't know why you are here. You don't know why you're wearing these clothes. You don't know who belongs to you. You belong to whom, what belongs to you. Nothing. You don't know your history. Do you think you're going to be an intelligent and a strong and an alert and a good person? Now imagine you wake up and you don't remember your history, and you have some evil kind people around you. When you wake up, your name is Hassan, you are 25 years old, you go to school here, your parents are this is but you don't remember any of this, and this evil kind of person says, no, your name is Emin, and you are a soldier, and you have killed so many people, and your whole family is dead because they killed you. Now you have to take revenge. What do you think is going to happen to that person who didn't know his history? He's going to become what they call like a monster. Like you know that book Frankenstein? You're going to become like that Dr. Frankenstein, his monster. Because now you don't know your history, someone is whispering to you, and you are going to be that person that one is putting inside of you. So if you're awake and you know your history, you're not going to be in a dangerous position. Somebody who says something to you, you'll be able to know what is haq and what is batil. Now imagine 2 billion Muslims, they don't know their history. Not from 30 years ago or 50 years ago. They don't know their history of 1,300 years. They don't know their history that is 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,400 years. They have no connection to that history. What kind of monster we have become. So that one is going to say, no, Islam is like this. You're going to say, yes, it is like this. Now the person says, Muslim man is like this. You say, yes, Muslim man is like this. Some is going to say, no, the scholars must be like this. You say, yes, scholars must be like this. Because there is no connection to the history. And now, if anything, they say, whatever little history or connection that you have to your history, break it. It's no good for you. Especially this secular, modern kind, reformist kind, saying, break everything, start from scratch, start from new, start from year zero, make everything new, because this is a new day. We've seen year zeros in so many countries. They tried that. When they put a new ideology and they say, forget your whole history, destroy your whole culture of thousands of years, and now we start with the year zero, start everything new. It didn't work. It failed, and it destroyed generations. May Allah protect us from that kind of ghaflat. This is another trick and a trap of Dajjal. We have to wake up. Connect those who have lineages, connect those who have history, and they'll be able to pull you back to what is your right. ومن الله التوفيق الفاتحة. آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Okay. Yeah, going. Salamat. Assalamu alaikum. Say.
I happen to know one person who is Shia, and I remembered that since you're talking about the history, I remember he